Hi, I'm Tillman.
Hi, I'm Charlie.
Yeah, and today it's a huge day in the history of Sonoscore, and we have something very special to show you today.
We're incredibly excited to announce a fantastic new string library, LUX. So, Tillman, as the creative director of Sonoscore, could you tell us about the story of LUX?
Yeah, we wanted to capture the sound of the really great classic Hollywood movies, like the John Williams soundtracks like E.T. or Sylvester soundtracks like Back to the Future. It's the soundtracks that we all fell in love with somehow. And we wanted to have a recorded symphonic string ensemble that really captures this mood and atmosphere of the sound.
Fantastic. And what's so exciting about this library as well is not only is it a huge, ambitious project, but it's huge in a literal sense. We've got 70-piece string orchestra, is that correct?
The idea behind that was just because we have big pictures of these blockbuster movies. And for me, a big sound fits to these pictures in the best way. And we wanted to have big sized ensembles that are playing with confidence. And even if they play a harsh marcato, it never sounds thin or sharp, but it sounds mighty and powerful. I think we have 18 first violins alone, and then it goes down to 10 contrabasses, and it's just a massive feeling if they really dig in.
And the location of your
Mm.
recording of these strings as well, has that made a massive difference to the sound?
Yeah, we've done a lot of research. We asked Ghanaian composers, we asked them about the best recording spots. We found a very, very good recording spot. It's a very large concert stage, and we hired the legendary mixing engineer Peter Fuchs, who did the mixing for us. This time we really wanted to go all in, and we didn't want to make any compromises sound-wise.
Right, it certainly pays off. We're very, very excited to give you some demonstrations.
Let's hear some of the articulations right now. So these are the core articulations at first, and we are very proud of our beautiful legato, and I just can play some of it. And we had one special idea for the legato, and this was the idea of our scripter, who scripted the legato, Jonas Meyer. He is a violinist himself, and I know that you're playing string instruments as well, Charlie.
Yeah.
And so he came up with the idea that when you play a legato line, you always have to change strings from time to time. And if you do so, the previous string lingers a little bit. It resonates a little bit longer than if you change the if you play legato on a string, on the same string. So we built that in as a feature. So if you play like arpeggio stuff, you will always get a little bit more of the previous notes than if you play on the same string. So if you play like this, gives you just a more natural flow because it really it models the behavior of the string section when playing these articulations.
Yeah, that's such a small detail, but it makes such a difference, especially if
Mm.
you are a string player yourself. I've never seen that done in any other library that I've used, and it really gives it that human feel to
Yeah,
when you're playing.
I think nobody has done it yet. Yeah.
So, can you tell me a little bit about how you switch between articulations?
Yeah, here comes a new feature in game that we created. We call it the SAT technology. It's a seamless articulation transition. So I think this is really very special and new. So if you play one articulation and you want to, let's say, change to tremolo, you can change the key switch. And if you press the key switch very softly, just change the articulations as if you would tell the musicians, can you please change the tremolo and back to legato if you want. And like this, we always have to use portamento in a legato line. Like sometimes you want this special, intense, slurry legato, but only from time to time. So we made it possible that you can just change from legato to portamento seamlessly with this set technology. I can show you what I mean. Now change and change back.
Gosh, that's fantastic. Can you demonstrate moving around a few more articulations, key switching from those?
Yes, sure. This is, I think the long articulations are, of course, very good for this seamless transitioning. If you just like hold a sustain chord and you want to change to tremolo, you press change to sol ponticello tremolo, and you change to a special articulation, soft motion. Motion is like we ask the players to do the slowest tremolo that they could do to achieve like just a very, very calm, evolving texture. And another great articulation are the soft interval trills. I changed to that. All in a seamless way. It really creates some nice evolving textures. The soft interval trills is a special articulation. I can just explain it to you because we have recorded interval trills up to the fourth interval. So whatever you press there, maybe you want to press any chord. Now it's the fourth interval pressed, and you can add something. And all you hear, it's just all of it. It's played interval.
It's very magical sound.
Yeah. And if you activate concertino, for example, it's even more. It's really like this shiny Hollywood.
It's very John Williams.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of John Williams, let's just change to the legato, and I show you another nice feature. It's you can just add the octave if you play legato. So if you play a legato line, and then change to octave. So you have immediately this
so
feeling.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
I really hear those resonance from that feature that you've got when you're switching strings. That's really apparent, especially in the octaves.
Yeah,
Makes it so real.
Yeah, I think I also think that it's some realistic behavior that we could capture here.
Fantastic. Can you show me a few other features?
Yes, I can show you the morphing textures. This is like if you want to have more control when morphing between two articulations, you can. We have crafted many of these morphings, articulation morphs, we call it. We have short morphs and we have long morphs, and as you can see, lots of them. So you can always exchange key switches in these key switch sets. So the easiest thing is you can just change from sustain. You see, you can do this with any sound, moving to sol ponticello tremolo and play, because as I move the mod wheel, it changes from sustain, and if I move the mod wheel up, it changes to the second sub-articulation, what we call it. So if I go to the edit page, you see this sustain, sol ponticello tremolo. And so if you go to sustain, you see that sustain will fade out, and sol ponticello tremolo will fade in. And if you want, you can just customize anything you want to have it later. And you really have full control. You can even adapt the volume curve a little bit and just make stuff like that. So it starts louder. lower this curve now. So you can make anything with it. You can exchange, of course, the sub-articulations. One really great thing is the pendulum. This is an articulation that we have recorded live because we just love this. So you can just play like we taught the player to just within a half tone, just play a blip like a glissando. And then you can always change from the one articulation to the next one. This one goes down. And so for any horror movie, you will get quick results with these.
Perfect. It's so
stuff.
easy, and you've got so much control.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so much variation for all of these sounds. It's fantastic.
We love that. We this was the first idea actually. We just wanted to have this morphing textures, and then I think it was Simon came up with the idea. Can we have a little bit of that when we change between key switches? And then we just noticed, you can go from legato to portamento this way and create even more natural melodic flow. And so yeah, it helped a lot to make the library special.
I'm Peter Fuchs. I'm a music recording and mixing engineer, a scoring mixer. I'm recording orchestras for TV series, video games, and big movies. I've done things like Iron Man 3, for example, Harry Potter video games, James Bond video games. I first heard about the Sonoscore LUX project through their founder, Tillman. And they approached me about recording and mixing this project. I was talking to Tillman, finding the right venue. We were agreeing that we need a big space to record in. There are lots of studios that are just not big enough for creating a really big sound. And it turned out they found the perfect hall, and that's where they did the recording. Mixing strings for sample libraries should theoretically not be so different to mixing strings for a real show. And I think that's what we were going for here. We were really trying to get that sound that is the same as in a movie score or a video game score. So the way I approached it is virtually exactly the same. With the exception, no artificial reverb. We were just using the natural acoustics of the hall. When Tillman first told me about the idea of recording additional microphones, like in a real situation, when we record a full orchestra on stage, we have lots of microphones, one for each section, sometimes one for individual instruments. Even if there's a full orchestra sitting, that they don't always play. So sometimes it's only the strings playing while the woodwinds sit tight and the brass don't play. But those microphones are still being recorded. And in a real live mix, they might just be left open. People are quiet, so it doesn't make a big difference. On the other hand, it does make a difference because they are recording sound from the room, and that contributes to the overall sound. So when Tillman told me about that idea, I was very up for it. I was very open, and I suggested to him where to place these other microphones, even though they were only recording strings at the time. But we still put out woodwind and brass microphones. When it came to mixing, I built a setup that included those bleed mics. We wanted to have the option of not having them in the full mix. So these microphones are not in the full mix. But we have two tracks. We have a bleed mic track for string bleed mics, and we have a bleed track for all the other bleed mics. And I think it contributes to a very natural sound. When it comes to mixing a library like this one, I always go for the tree sound first. The tree is an array of 3 main microphones, left, center, right. I'm establishing the sound of the hall itself, because that's a pretty good image. A well set up Decca tree with really good microphones is a very good image of what's actually going on stage. So this is what I'm listening to first, and then I'm adding in maybe 2 wide stereo microphones, wide left, wide right, and some room microphones and some spot microphones. When working on this mix of this sample library, we try to make sure that it sounds exactly like a top-notch recording for a film and video game score. And I think that's what we achieved. Great care was taken to select the players, to select the venue, to position the microphones correctly, to get a sound that's really right up there with exactly the sound that people are expecting when they listen to big film scores. Recording and mixing of this sample library, I think, couldn't get any closer to the real thing.
So Tilman, can you tell me a bit more about the comprehensive bleed mic feature? This is really, really unique.
Yeah. This was really very, very cool idea. And I think there were other libraries who did it in a smaller way already, but we wanted to really do it in a all comprehensive way. And we put like 20 mics in addition to the string mics that were already 28 mics. And so we have, we can just look at the
Yeah.
mixer page, and I can show you. We have some pre-designed mixes. That's the full mix. The full mix is like close, tree, and far combined. And yeah, this is my favorite mix with close and tree and bleed activated. And when we just play a nice melody, maybe first without the bleed.
That really adds a new sense of dimension. Really makes it very film scory sounding.
Exactly. And it's like now there's just the violins playing, but on the large scoring stage, and it's like the orchestra, they all are sitting there, they all are recorded, but only the string section is playing. And this, I think, it's a more natural way to capture the sound, and this way we made this big effort with the 20 additional mics.
Definitely. Could we hear an example of just the strings bleed?
Yeah, of course. So I'm starting again without it.
Gosh, so it does add more warmth, doesn't it? It really feels like it takes it from that studio setting to a concert hall.
Exactly. And this is exactly what we wanted to achieve. You know, we wanted to not to have this sound that is sometimes regarded as modern string sound, like smaller ensembles and all recorded in studios. I personally think for these big blockbuster pictures, this kind of soaring sound, this big ensemble sound recorded on a large scoring stage, sometimes it fits better. So there's space for every kind of library, of course.
Fantastic. So Tillman, a lot of the times when you buy a library, you get the basic package and then you have to buy expansion packs or other add-ons. This isn't the case with Lux.
No. We wanted to really give the people every articulations that they need for proper string composing, and we wanted to record it all at once and to have a consistent sound. And it's maybe a matter of fairness, like you have got one library, you have to pay the price, and it's all in, you know.
Fantastic. So there's no need for anything else, really. You've got it all there.
We hope so. It's at least we asked many professional composers. We even created a wish list with articulations, and so we have even recorded, like for the cello, triad arpeggios, because 3 of the composers said, if you got this in, I will buy it. So we thought, it's a great idea. So in the cello section, we have recorded this, and we have recorded some other stuff that was like required from professional composers.
Hi, I'm Stephen Gallagher. I'm a composer and music editor. I've worked on some projects that you might be familiar with over the last couple of years. I wrote the score to Kenji Kamiyama's The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim film. I was a music editor on Peter Jackson's 3-part documentary on the Beatles called Get Back. And I've been involved in music departments or music making for a number of years. When I first got my hands on Lux and I opened it up and started playing around with it, the first thing that immediately came to mind was, this is a sound that feels all at once familiar and resonates with me in a kind of a deeply emotional way. It sort of harkens back to, being a kid and discovering film for the first time. Like, the first films that I ever saw in my life were scored by John Williams. And the first film I ever saw, I can't remember how old I was small. My parents surprised me and took me to see the original Superman with Christopher Reeves. And there's something transporting and thrilling about hearing that string sound, that, beautiful, large, lush string sound as part of that score. And then the other sort of big landmark score for me is The Empire Strikes Back, which is again a John Williams score. And again, I saw as a young kid. And that, when I opened Lux and started playing around with the patches, I thought, this is sort of taking me back there. That this sounds like that kind of era of string orchestra. I think that Lux is an amazing sample library because you really get a sense of the scale and the depth of an orchestra when you play it, when you first put your hand on the key. To be able to command a sizable force of strings like that in a flexible and an elegant manner is really exciting. And yeah, it gives you that kind of thrill of that large scale ensemble playing together in a big room. It sounds fantastic. The thing about Lux is that if you're using it and, you feel like you're there, you feel like you're in the room or in the control room while an orchestra is playing. It's the same kind of sensation. That sound of incredible musicians in a big space, expertly captured. The only difference is that you have control over it. Like, you can articulate it from your keyboard or your controller, but it gives you that real sense of being there, that real sense that you're part of a recording in a very kind of tactile and colorful way. One thing about having the bleed mics as part of the miking array and the sample library, a lot of the orchestras, a lot of the scores that I grew up on, they weren't recorded as the scores weren't recorded in sort of stems. They weren't striped, which means they didn't record the strings separately. They didn't record the brass separately. The entire orchestra was recorded together in one room. When you set up mics in a room with like 100 musicians, you get what we call bleed, where, say, the bass drum or the grand casa is being picked up by the violin mics, and maybe the brass is being picked up by the woodwind mics. There's kind of a sense of, vibrations and sounds echoing around the hall that's getting picked up by all of the mics in the room. And for me, it's definitely an important part of the sound. The thing to me that I think Lux excels in is it's a flexible string sound. It's a flexible instrument, and you can do a lot with it. Yeah, you can absolutely conjure the grandeur and beauty of a Hollywood-style string orchestra, but it can do more than that. So I think if you're going to have one library, I'd absolutely recommend taking a look at this, because the amount of articulations that it has is spectacular. The miking options that it has is brilliant. And it's just a range of flexibility that's just going to mean that whatever you need to score, whatever you need to write strings for, this will cover it.
One of my favourite features of Lux is the composer crafted ensembles. I'd love if you could tell us a little bit more about that and maybe show us some examples.
Yeah, so the idea behind that is like one of the reasons why we founded SonusCore, to make the life easier of a composer and to give them products and tools that are working like inspirational and that enables them to work on tight deadlines. And yeah, so we have already created products like the score or the orchestra, and so with the Lux, of course, we couldn't resist to build an ensemble instrument with all 5 sections included, and maybe we can just have a look at it. So that's the ensemble, and you have, as you see, all 5 sections here sorted, and they are all doing doing different things. So when I just play a D minor chord, so you see it doesn't, like, the basses are not playing 3 notes. The basses are to have the lowest note aligned here. So you can just assign the note position here. So for the violas in this voicing, it's the lower middle. For the violins, it's maybe the highest note, and it's highlighted there. So you can just check it out, and you can change the octave that it's playing. So if you, or you can add the octave again. So if you add an octave there, the chord will sound like. And as you see now, the legato is selected. You can change to marcato via key switch while you play, and so on. So you can play as you like. So this is similar to the section instruments, and we have key switch sets as well. So what is really fascinating for me, it's the morphs and how they work with a full scaled ensemble. So if you play here the D minor chord, create some nice textures, and I think they are sounding great. So I could just imagine compose with a full ensemble if you are on a tight deadline, and just
Absolutely. It's like it's just fully orchestrated
yeah,
perfectly for
exactly.
you automatically.
And we have crafted a few different voicings here. So it's polyphonic basic here, and if you just want to play unisono melodies with a legato, so the best thing is then to so now you have the full ensemble playing, and you can of course add the octaves again and have some nice. For the marcato, this can be really massive. Is this right for melodic playing? You can just brush with a big paint with a big brush.
It's fantastic. That legato really reminds me of the Harry Potter feeling, those sweeping well, anything by John Williams, to be honest.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And you have some more really great. Let's change to the morphs again. These are my favorites. And if you change to the chordal stuff, there's a little bit more divisi, and you can play like
This is all controlled just with the woodwind.
yeah, exactly. This works like with the section instruments. And with this one, this is my favorite patch, of course, the pendulum half-tone glissando. So it starts with the sustain for the whole section. And then you can create some strumming atmosphere. So you can use this. I use this mainly for textures or melodic stuff. And of course, when I work like in detail, I use the section instruments, but this sometimes helps. Sometimes I'm just adding some nice ensemble sound to chord progressions.
And what I love especially about this ensemble section is the spacing of the instruments. You really can feel that depth and the breadth of where the instruments are sitting, like the violin ones are to the left, and it's really in that traditional orchestral placement, so they don't conflict with each other. It really gives you that expansive feeling.
Yeah, exactly. This was something what was important for us. Really record the string players where they sit in an orchestral recording, and not put it all together into the middle, but so the buses are really a little bit on the right side, and so it adds transparency. Even if the ensemble sizes are very big, it's still like it doesn't feel messed up, I think.
We've just watched the teaser. It would be wonderful to see this inside a door. Could we see how you wrote this piece?
Yeah, I'd love to show you this because for me personally, you know, it was like the final test or the final challenge to see if Lux Strings really works in the DAW when I compose a track. So I composed a track only for string ensemble, which can be tough with sample libraries, of course. And I just used a little bit of reverb for the whole track. And as you can see, all notes are exactly on grid here. So I quantized all notes after I recorded them. And, you know, I just played the melody and so on. And you can maybe just play the track. You see, I have several regions here. I divided the cello to have every line played legato and proper legato, and but it's not much about it. I didn't add stuff, and I just made a little bit volume curves here to get the flow. But it's almost everything is done with a mod wheel, the whole bowing, and yeah. So I'm really happy with the result.
It sounds fantastic. Can we listen to the whole thing all the way through?
Yes, sure.
Tilman, thank you so much for showing me all of these fantastic features of Lux. It's truly an incredible library.
Thanks, Johnny.
I'm so excited to use more of it. Please head over to the website to find out more, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.